This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any health or lifestyle changes.
Welcome to Conversations That Heal. If your doctor says you're fine, but your body says otherwise, for example, you're maybe gaining weight that doesn't make any sense, aches and pains that seem to be for no reason, maybe you're waking up at 2:30 a.m. and your brain just won't stop, or, you're struggling to push through those tasks that you used to handle without even thinking about it. Well, you are in the right place. I'm Tracy. I spent years as a personal trainer. I looked very fit and healthy on the outside, but on the inside, I suffered from weekly ocular migraines, fibromyalgia, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and so much more. Every doctor told me I was in range, and so I had to become my own detective. And what I found changed my life. Now I sit down every week with real people who bring real tools around food, sleep, movement, nervous system support, and all that quiet stuff you doom scroll through Google in the middle of the night. Every episode, we explore different perspectives or practices to help your body improve naturally. So take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Your body isn't failing you. It's trying to tell you something. So before we get into today's conversation, click the link in the description and download my free resource, 4 Steps to Finally Feel Like Yourself Again. All right, so let's get into it. Hi there. Welcome to Conversations That Heal. I'm Tracy Mail, a health empowerment coach, and I'm joined today by Dawn Attanasio, a certified personal life coach and founder of Purposeful Life Coach. So Dawn helps people break free from what's holding them back, reconnect with their confidence, and create a life rooted in clarity, meaning, and purpose. Love that. Dawn, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited for today's conversation.
Thank you, Tracy.
Good. Okay, so thanks. All right, so I'd love for you to tell us more about your story and what led you into this kind of work.
Sure. So I was a teacher, right? A teacher in New York for over 30 years, straight out of college.
Wow.
And I've always craved for peace, like peace in my life, and knew the difference when I was around people who lifted me up, positive interactions.
Right.
And then, of course, I wanted to be the achiever. I was goal-oriented, but I did that all alone. I really didn't have support in a lot of things. Yes, I reached out for support, but overall, I relied on myself for a lot, reading, research, but really, I depended on myself. There weren't many people in my life who I could trust.
Right.
They just weren't available either.
Hmm.
And I felt like a lot of people, even till this day, they don't always understand. They don't even understand what I do, and they certainly don't talk about it.
Okay.
So it's like that makes it all the more important to be in touch with yourself, discover yourself, trust yourself, and have true purpose. Know that everything you do matters and you can enjoy your everyday life living within your purpose and having balance. There's such a difference when you live a fulfilled life, knowing you're reaching your potential. And it's a mystery to a lot of people. And I did what I thought was meaningful, teaching, because I had a love of writing. Of course, there was reading involved, but my love of writing drove me to major in English and then education. And I have 60 credits above my master's.
Oh, jeez.
I became an English coordinator. And prior to that, I knew I wanted to take on leadership roles. So 5 years into my teaching, it was easy to feel burnout. I was in a very rough place, rough school district, and I didn't think I could sustain it.
Mm.
So I saw an opportunity to become a staff developer,
Mm.
and there's the helper in me. I wanted to help, assist, mentor, um, impart knowledge, be that liaison, and I got to do all of that.
Nice.
And then I transitioned to another school district and went in as an English chairperson, coordinator, they called it. Um, I stayed in that position for 3 years, and the position was dissolved. There was a lot of
Mm.
restructuring in that place. So I stayed there and just continued teaching. And what I realized was I had more peace, at least at that time, just teaching.
Right.
I was like more focused instead of helping everybody. And I used to worry about what everybody was doing.
Right.
And
Right.
I tried to make everybody happy, and that's not
Yep.
possible.
Nope. That people pleaser, right? Oh, it's
Yes.
exhausting.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
And, there were parents, there were administrators, there were people above that, and then you had the students.
Right.
So I was able to just focus more on the students when I went into straight like teaching responsibilities.
Okay.
But I'm a planner. I love planning. I love organizing. And I loved the part where I took upon myself to create events. I was very good at motivating myself. So when I didn't have a love of the place because it could wear you down,
Mhm.
I was very creative. How can I make this fun for me?
Mm.
How can I come back every day and look forward to it? And that's what I'm experiencing now. I'm using my potential. There's like endless amount of growth in what I'm doing right now.
Right. Nice. Yeah, that's great. That having that growth, it keeps you motivated. It keeps you going. You don't get in that rut,
Right.
right? Yeah, exactly. So what kind of people like I know you do a few different things, like you help people find their identity, and I'm sure you love everything, right? But what do you find is the most common thing you help people with?
I love helping my clients just get back to their life, get back to not worrying about whatever experiences they had in the past. Like, let's just discover right now, today, what you need, and getting them to, and I unroll basically gently tools, never to overwhelm my
Mhm.
clients, tools they can use in everyday life, and the before and after, the before and the during, and the current day from when we started, it's night and day. It's a lot of people find me and they're at a point where they tried everything and they don't know what else to do.
Right.
And it's almost like this do or die situation,
Mhm.
like I'm suffering.
Oh,
And just being that person, that safe place that someone can trust and know that I will be there for them. I listen. So some of my superpowers, which I've been really made aware of lately, people, is either it's two things. If I had to pick two, it's asking the right questions and being a good listener.
nice. That's fantastic. I want to ask that about how do you, was it just something you're naturally good at, is asking good questions, or is that a skill that you've, gotten better at over time with your experiences?
Oh, great question. It
Thanks.
is always in me, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why. I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
Now, journalists have to get the story.
Yes.
Newspaper reporter. I had experience in that in my high school and early college. It's like that thirst for knowledge, staying in inquiry. And I do stay in inquiry all the time with my clients. So asking the right questions based on what I'm hearing, based on what I'm sensing,
Hmm.
is so important. And it's not just like asking questions all the time. That listening, it's a balance
Right.
between the listening. There's a lot of listening and there's asking important questions because I really care about the answer. I don't ask questions for the sake
Right.
of asking questions.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the trick right there, right? You have to actually care about the answer. Well, that's so awesome.
Yes.
Good, good, good. Um, so I know again with what you do, there's a lot of living with intention, right? So what do you like what first made you realize the actual power behind that? Like living with intention.
I realized it, I would say started in 2025.
Hmm,
I started using that with my clients.
okay.
And it was something I was learning about. There was no special reason that it came up.
Hmm,
Anyway, the more I learned about it and started applying it to my life, I started using it with my clients. So, for example, if I knew I had a difficult meeting, difficult
right.
event, something that was causing me, say, worry or a little anxiety, I knew it would work. It would work out better if I set an intention ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and it starts with the word peace or, positivity. Like, I'm going there with the best possible outcome in mind. I'm not going to
Yes.
dread it and everything's going to be okay. And then I started expanding it to a day, not just an event that I'm attending, and then a week. So
Hmm,
I can set an intention for next week. If I'm going on vacation, I can say, my intention is to relax. So that's going to guide me in my activities day to day during that period of time.
hmm,
And if I don't forget it and I really think about it, I will make the choices that all come back to that intention of relaxing.
hmm. Nice. Yeah, good, 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 good. That's I think my next question, but you answered it. It was because everybody says that live with intention. Oh, to live your life with intention. But like, what does that really mean? Right? I think some people like, I don't know how to do that. What do you mean by that? Right? So, like, go ahead.
Yes. So, I mean, that was specific. I gave you an example. And week to week in our lives, day to day, the intention can change. So it's very flexible.
Hmm.
So I can have goals. I can have goals, and my intentions can kind of match the goals. So if I
Mm,
want to think professionally and I want to network more, well, I need to write that down and then set the intention that I will, meet the right people. I will meet people who I can add to my life. And if my intention is to have a different goal, like you might relate to this, for health,
hmm
if I want to be healthy, then I might set an intention to eat healthy foods every day and then shop once a week. So if I really want to be healthy, it can't just be, okay, think it and then stop. I have to carry through small steps to
right.
come back to that. So I make an intention when I'm going out to a restaurant, even like today. I knew I wanted to be sure I was selecting ahead of time in my mind. I'm going to have a green, like a lean protein, so a lean and green meal. And when I got
Okay.
there, I was like mentally prepared for that. Like I wasn't distracted. I went
Right.
for it and it was no problem.
Right. Yeah. I like that. I can absolutely like obviously that is we're all supposed to do that, right? And I can see how that can help, especially I think when it comes to being healthy too, so many people, that's their biggest thing. Well, I want to go out to eat. I want to have this event. I don't they so setting that intention ahead of time for your event, you can still eat properly. You can still have a good time. You can still live your life normally, right? You don't have to stress, oh, I'm on this special diet or I'm doing whatever. Just live your life, but set the intention that so you do what you need to do and eat your lean and green or whatever that your situation might be, right? So I like that. Very, very
Then you're
good.
happier, and then
Yeah,
there's no regret because if you chose something that was like against that and really not supporting you,
right.
then you're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I order that? So to be
Yeah.
setting that intention guides your actions.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're now said you're not self-sabotaging. You're not setting yourself up for failure, right? So,
That's right.
yeah. Good, good, good. All right, and then, I think a lot of people are stuck in patterns, right? And they have their self-doubt, unfulfilling relationships, that kind of stuff. So what's one or two simple shifts that, you could tell somebody to do today or, not tell them to do, but recommend that they do that could help them shift out of that?
Well, think of the opposite. So if there's something you're living with and you know it's not self-serving, it's a limiting belief, think of the opposite of that. For example, no one likes me. If someone really believed that, then you have to get in the mindset that people like yourself because the world will feed off your energy
Ah, yes.
and you won't be open to it either. So you have to have that belief and that confidence and self-esteem
Mm,
to make that change because then you'll get different results than what you've been getting. And having a coach supports that because it's not always easy to do by yourself.
no, that's,
So,
yeah.
and then of course you have to apply it to your life. So I hear from one particular client. She says she worries a lot. Like she really does worry, and she worries about an adult child. Most of her worries are surrounded by her adult child. So, how do we break that cycle? Right? This client is already incessantly worrying, and that's like the topic of conversation for months, almost a
Wow.
year, over a year. But it has gotten better. So I'll just say that here's a question that came in that was kind of like a light bulb moment for my client. She was worried that she went on vacation and was leaving this adult child for 2 weeks at home. So I text her because she's away and I said, well, do you think so and so is having a great time at home, enjoying independence in your home?
Right?
And she
Yeah.
said, yes. So I said, do you think she's worrying right now? She said, no. So why are you worrying?
Right? Is that funny? How sometimes you just need someone else to say those words to you, right? It's so funny. We live with these blinders on, and then somebody says like, "Duh," right? Aha, right? That's so funny.
But it's powerful.
It's so
It is,
powerful.
and
Yes.
it is self-defeating for that parent to
Oh,
constantly feel worry. It contributes to a lot of physical ailments that are going on,
mhm.
chronic pain, etc.
Oh, I can see
And
that. Yeah.
you're just thinking about one thing, which is negative, is constantly overshadowing everything.
Yeah.
And so there's no room to do positive things, enjoyable things.
No. And it's going to damage, you would think it would be hard on the relationship with that adult child, right? The adult child would kind of resent you to a point. If you have that control over them or that kind of worry, it can't be. I would imagine if that releases, they're going to have a much nicer relationship. Okay?
You make a really good point because when someone has ever expressed a worry about me, I'm like, why are you worried? Why are you even worried about that? So then I take a step back and I'm like, okay, do they not have confidence in what I'm doing and my belief?
Right.
And I think that could be true of the mother and the daughter we were talking
Hmm.
about. What message does that send to that adult child? If
Right.
I'm worrying about you, that means I don't think you could have a good life
Right.
independently. You're not going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She may never move out because she won't have the confidence because you're not instilling that in her. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. And then that'll feed into her other relationships, right? When she gets married, she won't have the confidence. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just,
Y-
you can see that snowball. Yeah, holy. Yeah.
You actually have a good picture of what's going on, and we have to break that
Yeah.
cycle for both people. Even
Right.
if I'm working just with one of them, it impacts everyone's relationship. So whoever my clients are, I always say this will impact you everywhere you go and all the relationships you show up for, work,
Yeah.
professional and personal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 1000%. And it's the same with like what I do, right? When you're talking about someone's health. And once, if you're not feeling your best, you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, that is feeding into everything you do, your relationships with your work, your friends, your family, because you're not showing up as your true self anymore. You're maybe more snappy, right? So just getting all of that, getting your health better, setting the proper intentions, like you were saying, that absolutely just affects every part of your life. It's not just one thing you're changing, right? So I think that's so important.
That energy you were talking about, that low energy, feeling exhausted, tired, that's that absolutely can impact relationships because then you don't have, I know when I was experiencing,
Mhm.
my experience with that myself is then I would say no to things because I'm
Absolutely.
tired.
Hmm.
I'm doing X, Y, Z, but there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And so if I'm saying no to someone who needs me,
Hmm.
they may get the wrong message. Of course, that I don't want to spend time with them.
Exactly.
But so that's why I'm very careful if that ever does happen. Communication, clear communication. Just
Mhm.
speak the truth so they know. It's not
Yes.
you. I'm exhausted right now, but this will be a better time.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And again, people don't communicate. You're so afraid of saying no, especially as a woman, right? We just want to help everybody and fix everything. And we don't take care of ourselves, which setting those boundaries, right, is so, so important as well for our health in every aspect.
It's so important to say no because
Yes.
if you say yes and you're showing up exhausted or maybe even irritable, and then you build resentment, you're not going to be there the way they wanted you to be there.
No,
It's
no,
just forcing it, and it's the opposite of self-care.
exactly. Exactly. And then it's resentment on your side, it's resentment on their side, and you're creating issues that didn't need to be created, right? So, very good. Thank you, thank you. All right, so I think we're coming up on that time. So, before we finish off, like, do you have any other words of wisdom that you'd want someone listening today to listen to, consider and, that could help them out? They're in stuck.
Yes. I would say what comes to mind is if you wake up in the morning and you're kind of like dreading the day before you've done anything,
Hmm.
if you are not happy to get out of bed and you have nothing to look forward to, I would take that as a sign like something has to change. You don't have to perpetuate that and just
Right.
stay stagnant and stuck. That is what a coach can help you with. A
Yes.
life coach can help you with it. You could have a number of coaches in your life for different things,
Hmm.
but just don't be afraid to take action to break that cycle because then you're really missing out on your life. Life is not meant to be like that.
No, absolutely. Well said. And I love how you mentioned earlier, even when you were talking about having self-confidence or something like that to change into getting more confident. My first thought was there's a lot of people when you're in that state, right? You can't feel confident. You can't, but you said a coach can help. And that's exactly, it's so true. It's like having a best friend, right? That can help you and isn't going to judge you. And it's just going to really keep you accountable, keep you on track, help you through those tough times. So I love that. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You're
Good,
welcome.
good, good, good. All right. So if someone watching wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
Go to my website. There's a lot of information there, contact information, booking information, purposefullifecoach.com.
Okay.
And I'm Dawn Attanasio, so you can Google me that way, Google Purposeful Life Coach, and I'd be happy to help any of your listeners who, Discovery Call is always free. And again, don't be afraid to reach out.
Nice. Thank you. Fantastic. I will make sure your website and all of your social handles, everything is in the show notes, so people will be able to find you there for sure. Or like say, just Google your name. But yeah, I'll try make it as easy as possible. Alrighty.
Appreciate that.
Good, good, good. All right. So again, thank you so much, Don, for being here and sharing your wonderful insights. Very good topic. I love it. And for everyone watching, if today's episode resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next Conversation That Heals. Thank you for listening to the Conversations That Heal. If something in this episode helped you feel seen or gave you one small thing to try, that's your next step. Start there. Gentle, sustainable, and at your body's pace. If you want more, check out this video next. Remember, your body isn't the problem. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We're just learning to start listening to it again. So stay well, and we'll see you in the next Conversation That Heals.